afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff, your host for Let's Talk About It. And also, I am the host of the audio version of my podcast, which you can find on Spotify right now and Podbean. And the title of that podcast, because it has the same name apparently, is the Let's Talk About You podcast. And you can go there and listen to the audio version of all of the podcasts we do. We're relatively new doing this. I believe that the part of everything we do on a daily basis is the people we get to meet, the people we get to help and make a difference in their lives. I think that's what life is all about. And so that's what this podcast is all about. I've had a dizzying week. A good friend of mine was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. We're doing some natural stuff, and we're doing a lot of things that the medical profession doesn't do. And so hopefully we can turn this thing around. His name is Steve. For the praying people out there, appreciate your prayers. I set up a Give, Send, Go for him. They need some donations, obviously. You can go to my Facebook page and see that. And that's just something that's very close to me. This was a sudden thing. Steve found out that he had was in a battle with cancer literally 7 days ago. They sent him home to die. So that's kind of something that my whole week has been absorbed in. Today, we're going to be talking about a friend of mine I met at Ignite You 365, which is a network group here locally in Tacoma. I joined as a result of my company, and I have met so many amazing business owners, professionals, and representatives that I like to promote the IgniteU365.com because that's how I met my guest today. Her name is Becky Racine. She is a health coach. She's done amazing work in a lot of people's lives, and we're going to talk about that today. So without further ado, let's meet Becky Racine. Hi, Becky. Welcome to the show.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. I appreciate it. Fun
Well,
to
I mean,
spread the good news of health.
Right on. You and I know each other, but most of my audience doesn't know you. So why don't you spend a few minutes telling people about your life story and how you ended up as a health coach, if you would.
Sure. Well, basically about a little over 6 years ago, my husband was trying all the things. He wanted to shed some weight, and he was miserable. He was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And, these days, unfortunately, if you go to the doctor, they tell you a couple of options you have. You can push away from the table, rude, or maybe they have a pill or a shot, not any kind of long-term help there, or eat less, exercise more, which that was actually what he was trying. He'd done enough. He'd done shots. He'd done different programs that offered some short-term results, and only to fall into old bad habits again and put the weight back on. Myself, it was welcome to your 40s, Becky. There's 20 pounds you can't shake. So he was really miserable. He hit his top weight, 285, and he was done. So when I asked a girlfriend on Facebook, what are you doing? She made it sound so easy. And she's like, oh my gosh, it's so easy. You just eat 6 times a day. And she just made it super easy. They give you this easy program, just go for it. And he's like, I'll try anything. So he jumped in and had so much fun with it. He lost a good amount of weight. He lost actually 45 pounds his first 2 months. So everyone was going, what did you do? And he's like, well, I'll try and coach these people are all like asking me what I'm doing. And then he ran out of time. He works for FedEx full time. So he was like, I don't know what to do with all this. So I jumped in and helped all these people. So he was actually the coach first, and then I jumped in and helped everybody because he didn't have any time. So that's kind of how the coaching business started. It was a little unique compared to other coaches. I did jump on program. I myself lost 15 pounds in 5 weeks. But I always say I lost, and went on to do more, 20 pounds down, but 100 pounds mentally. So we're really focused on the whole person, healthy body, healthy mind, and even healthy finances. And so we both have benefited from all those improvements in our life. Yeah.
So now when it comes to your husband, you guys have a pretty long history. Why don't you share a little bit about how your life before all of this stuff, and what did you do prior to becoming a health coach?
Yeah, so he remembers me back in 7th grade. I moved from California to Washington in 5th grade. And in 7th grade, he was my PETA teacher, whatever. And so he remembers me back then, but he was always at a friend's house and I was at the younger sister of his friend's house. And so we were always over at this house, hanging out together with these kids. So we knew each other all through high school, but my senior year, we actually started dating. And so I was 17 and he was 20 and my mom was throwing a fit. And so, so that was 1995. My goodness. So next year we'll have been together 30 years. This year we've been married 25. So we've been together, best friends all that time. We didn't even know at that young age that we had a lot of the same interests, but yeah, his health journey took him farther than he ever thought he could. He waited 4 years, but he did finish his health journey. He lost another 70 pounds in 2022, and he's actually smaller now than he was in high school. And so it's pretty funny when, Port Townsend, we go back, people are like, whoa, they don't even recognize him. So he's lost a total of 112 pounds. But so that was fun, seeing him all of his life. I knew he always struggled with weight. So this has been totally different. And as for me, with what brought me into sort of healthcare, I knew as a little girl, I always wanted to be in healthcare. And so I was actually nominated to go to Boston. I have a little slide that actually shows the news clip. We'll get in that maybe later. But basically, I just knew from a little girl I always wanted to be in healthcare. So I was actually an occupational therapy assistant for 20 years. And I finished the last 8 years of that stint. First 10 to 12 years I did in nursing homes. And then I finished it. There we go. You can see those are my pictures as an occupational hand therapist. But the news clip is actually when I went to Boston for National Youth Leadership Forum on medicine, and we got to see everything. Nothing fazed me. Going to surgery, we were in with cadavers, we were in nursing homes watching wound packs and looking at brains. I mean, all the stuff. Nothing fazed me. I loved everything medical, but the amount of school that they said it took to become a doctor really shied me away from that. So I was like, no, we don't need to go that route. So I wanted something a little bit less education, but still in the healthcare field. So that was what got me into occupational therapy.
So,
and
I have a question.
Yeah.
You were 16 years old looking at cadavers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what was that like? I mean,
it didn't really faze me, which was funny. I mean, at that age, I've been in multiple surgeries as a hand therapist. I would go in and watch my patients. If they would sometimes come in and do therapy prior to surgery, like preparing for surgery. So if I knew they had a hand surgery coming up, they would be able to authorize me to come in and watch the surgery. So I saw several surgeries then too, but I loved being in the surgical room. I thought it was just the coolest thing ever. The cadaver part, I don't know. I guess, in healthcare with some of that stuff, I guess you emotionally detach from part of it. But there was the curiosity. I remember I wanted to see why they covered the face, and then I figured out why they covered the face, and I shouldn't have asked.
Yeah, but most 16-year-old girls don't want to see a dead body.
Medicine was thrilling to me. I loved every aspect of it. We spent 10 days in Boston, and they gave it all to us. Like in the nursing home we went into, I mean, no graphic details, but yeah, seeing wound packing was that should have been more disturbing than the cadaver. But yeah, they gowned us all up with gloves, and we were like, well, what's this? They're like, oh, that's the liver. Oh, okay. That's the spleen. Oh, okay. But I just found it fascinating. The human body is such an amazing, it's amazing. And it just is, I think it's thrilling to learn about.
We absolutely agree on that. And I want to go back to when I was going through your pictures, and of course I saw some of your presentation when we were at Ignite You. But when I looked at this picture, it's like, it's not even the same person. It doesn't even look the same.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of your other stuff on Facebook, and I was like, he's lost 2 people.
Yeah. Yeah. So, it's,
this is
I
your
love
husband.
that. Yes, Yeah, this is Steve and I. That was back in the black and white picture is a picture back at a Christmas party when I was an OT in 2017, and we began program in 2018 April or so. So that was at his tippy top worst. He was coaching the girls, softball. He was very, very active, very, very busy. But and for me, same. I was just busy, 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 and we weren't eating the right things, and we weren't active in the right ways, and we didn't really understand how to properly nutrition our body, and also just surviving, not thriving, really just day by day trying to make ends meet, and really financially unhealthy, which when you're financially unhealthy like that, unfortunately, it leads to a lot of unhealthy mindset. I think all that goes full circle. When you're unhealthy financially, it leads to an unhealthy mindset, which leads to an unhealthy body. So it all kind of plays hand in hand. So yeah, in that previous picture there, we were surviving. We were not thriving like we are today. For sure.
Okay, so now 6 years down the road, what is it that you do for people? We'll talk a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, I'm always studying. I'm always learning better. So I'll have clients that come back and I always laugh and say, oh, good, you get Becky 2.0, because I'm always learning. What do I do now is I'm really assisting people to move into that thriving, moving from surviving into thriving, just like we did. Steve really watching and walking alongside him. For me, it was a couple of nutritional gaps to shake that 20 pounds and figure out what it was, why I had low energy, why I would sugar crash, how I'm doing that. I'm teaching people right now how to eat like a diabetic. We start with nutrition. Once you get your body feeling really good, then we work on the mindset. And so that's really the biggest thing that we're doing, is working on the mindset. A lot of people will come in and treat this like a diet. So I'd say that's the hardest part of what I do right now, is helping people to see that this is not just another diet. It can be, if you treat it that way, it can be just another diet. But our goal is to help people move out of that diet mindset and into a new lifestyle. And so I do teach some nutrition and teaching people to eat like a diabetic, and we focus on habits of health. So we have 6 macro habits we talk about. We have lots of micro habits that we talk about, and really just looking at how can we recognize where those habits of disease are and transition those into better habits of health. So we have a lot of tools in place that we can use to help people recognize where those habits of disease are and how to transform them into habits of health. And that's probably the biggest thing we're doing, is just that transformation of that new lifestyle.
So I'm as we talked just briefly about, and I want to show this thing to you. I'm learning that most of us, myself included, have a lot of, we're stuck emotionally. And how we react emotionally to our life is based on that stuck position.
Mm-hmm.
And that stuck position actually promotes diseases and unhealthiness. Everything about it is just stinky thinking. I sat down and I did something for myself. I did a scan. Then when I was reading the emotional report that comes out, because it's too complicated to get into right now, but I was like, man, I'm kind of screwed up. I gotta figure some things out. And that's what most of us, when you stop and think about it, and I'm sure you can elaborate on this,
mm-hmm.
When we start taking a real hard look at ourselves, we have to look at the things that keep us stuck. And sometimes that's not easy to do. I believe that's one of the reasons why repetitive dieting, I mean, I joke, I lost all this weight and then I found it. I don't know how many times in my lifetime. And you addressed that with me when we were talking about this earlier. What are your thoughts on just being stuck in a mindset that's actually kind of killing us, not to mention the foods that we eat, the products that we're using? I mean, there's so many outside things that are screwing us up. The last thing we need is to be emotionally unhealthy. How do you deal with all that with your clients?
Well, one of the things we have a lot of education, and so I want to talk about this man here for a minute in a second. This is the habits of health that we focus on. This is Dr. Wayne Anderson. So we affectionately call him Dr. A. But this is another book. It's sort of a journal like, and mine have been very loved on. As you can see, they're it's falling apart. But one of the elements in here is managing your thoughts and emotions. And this is one of the most impactful parts of the book that we discuss. And one of the statements that he puts in here is he says, the inability to successfully navigate our emotions is now thought to be the central cause of almost all disease and lack of well-being. When you really stop and think about that statement, it's really big. It's really, really powerful. It's exactly what you were just saying, that people are not, they don't have the tools. They don't know how to manage emotion. And things like stress and worry and anxiety and depression and sadness and loneliness, which is an actual epidemic right now. We also help people create a really healthy community around them. That's one of our really big macro habits we work on, healthy surroundings. Those are all very, very big parts to your well-being. And so if we can take a look at navigating emotions, just that's why I say I lost 100 pounds mentally, because I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to navigate things. Thankfully, I haven't had to really deal with a lot of grief, which when I'm talking with clients and stuff, I think grief is probably the hardest emotion that people have no tools. They do not know how to navigate grief. And we all grieve in our own ways and what makes sense to us. But you don't have any tools for it. And those are the hard conversations that we have. We have tools for dealing with something such as grief. So this man here, Dr. A, he and his wife dropped everything they were doing. He was a cardiologist, a cardiac surgeon, top 10 in the nation for 20 years. He basically left everything he was doing. He had a scary moment. He had a nurse. They were working ER with a drug addict, and she accidentally poked him with a needle. And his life flashed before his eyes. He went home. He had babies who he never saw because he was working 80 hours a week. And he was like, this isn't for me anymore. He loved helping people, but he felt like he was just treating illness where he would rather have prevented it. So he wanted to get into prevention medicine. So that's when he partnered with a company called Medifast. It's been around for about 30 plus years. And he saw that these people were doing great. It was a diabetic prescribed program that was helping people shed lots of weight, only for them to put it all back on. And he was like, what is going on? Something is missing. So that's when he wrote this book, The Habits of Health. This is what was missing. If we can help people figure out what the habits of health are, then we can help them figure out how to keep the weight off and achieve that well-being long-term with a new healthy lifestyle of habits of health. And so that's really where it all comes into play, all the things, every piece of our life. But it's a lot about, emotional well-being. And with grief, what I wanted to say about him was his wife. There he is. That's me and Dr. A. And his wife, sadly, ironically, right before I started in 2018, she was, I think, early 60s, pretty young. She actually died of a heart attack in her sleep. And super, it was devastating. He still talks about her as bride. He still cries on stage talking about his bride. It's hard to watch even someone else go through grief. But with his experience, I think without that experience, and people who do walk through grief, they know when someone is speaking from experience. It makes more sense to them, I think. And, so he talks a lot about grief. He talks about what are healthy ways to navigate it, because a lot of times we take any kind of emotions and we navigate them in a lot of unhealthy ways. Can we all agree on that? That there's a lot of ways that we deal with emotions in very unhealthy ways. So that's been a big topic. He does Dr. A's Conscious Leadership Forum. And a lot of people think it's leadership for work or business. It's not. It's becoming the leader of yourself. And he opens it up for questions to everybody. And the main topic is emotional management. So it's pretty cool.
I got to jump in here on that because when I run these scans, I do what is called the company that I'm now involved in is called Solex. They do frequency testing, and the biggest the one thing that we do first, and we're asked to do this one for, is to do a scan that literally deals with your emotions from birth until you do the scan. I've actually had people sit across the table from me. They read the report and they start crying and they go, how did this know this about me? This has happened. I've got like 17 people that I'm working with. I would say that about a third of them started crying when they read the report, and it has to do with the emotions. And I had another person explain it to me this way. She said, it's like if you remember the old albums, that you put the needle on it and it starts playing the music. It's just your conscious world is looking at the turntable, but you really don't dig into your subconscious until you put the needle on the record. And then it starts playing the things that are not in front of us, that are not on the surface, that are not readily, available for us to see. And that's where most people are stuck because they don't know how to change that cycle of behavior. I'm probably one of them, to be honest with you. But anyway, your health coaching is digging into all of that.
Yeah.
Well, I understand you.
Absolutely. And this is actually a journal. So this is, you're learning, but you're also journaling, and it's asking promptive questions to journal, because when we journal, we're bringing that subconscious to the conscious mind. And Dr. A talks a lot about metacognition, thinking about our thinking. He talks a lot about neuroplasticity, creating new pathways for new ways of thinking. If someone is feeling stuck in a rut, we want to create new neural pathways, new ways of thinking, because it is our thinking that is shaping our life. So what are we thinking? So thinking, metacognition, use your thinking about thinking. When you start realizing what these thoughts are that you have and creating new neural pathways to navigate those and have different thoughts, you can create a different reality. And what his passion is to help others become the dominant force in their life. And so you really are talking about gaining control. A lot of people in today's world they're being tossed through the ebbs and flows of life. They're just being tossed around, and they don't feel like they're in control of their daily life. And so how can we do that? How can we get back in control of our life and feel in control? Well, one way is if you can control what you put in your mouth, you can darn near just about control anything.
Well, I want to address that because I watched a lot of these old reels from like the 1910 San Francisco, New York. I see these black and white films. And the one thing that's missing in every one I've seen so far is there's no obese people. There's no overweight people. Now, they're thinking, like today, we have so many conveniences and so many things, but we also have food that's killing us. That wasn't the case with those people. And they didn't have the technology. They didn't have the electricity. They didn't have all the things that are affecting our body. But they weren't all obese and, screwed up and messed up. And, the weight loss industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. There was no time for them to think that way back then. And they didn't have these problems. Have you ever considered all of that as part of what you do?
Oh yes, there's a lot of conversation around that. And it's funny that you actually say that right now, because my husband was just talking about it last night. So one of the things he says is, he goes, nobody ever taught me how to just properly nutrition my body. Like that was never a topic of discussion. It never was brought up. His mom worked in the school cafeteria, and they didn't teach her anything about nutrition working in the school cafeteria. I mean, I can't believe what they fed us. But he was just saying on TV, we like to watch tennis. Oh, we are tennis fanatics, but we love to watch tennis. And that's about the only time we'll catch any commercials. And commercials kept coming up. And he said to me just last night, he said, have you ever noticed that every commercial is people who are overweight? Like this is the new norm. They're normalizing it. And it is sad because people are sort of it's almost like giving up. It's easier to just give in or give up and just, this is my new reality. I can't tell you how many times when someone comes to me on the phone and they've failed so many times at all these diets out there, and they're just broken. They have no faith in themselves that they can actually achieve health. So we just take it one little millimeter at a time, their goal, just one little millimeter. And that's how my husband achieved the health too. But it's just being so normalized now that people just think, well, this is my new reality. This is where I'm stuck at. This is where I have to stay. And nothing ever works for me. My body's broken. I can't fix it. I don't know how to do it. And that is literally what my husband used to say. My body's broken. I have my mother's metabolism. I can't fix it. I've tried everything. I fail at everything. So I was just on Facebook a little bit earlier today, and another person talking about how several pounds down with, I would say it's probably one of the latest fads, the carnivore, literally no vegetables, no fruit, nothing, just straight up meat. Keto, all these things, you can't eat that way forever. You're not going to never touch another piece of the other foods. And so with our program, we're not focusing on restriction. We're not focusing on elimination. We're focusing on creating balance. You're cooking meals and you're learning how to balance them with macros, your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. Most people that come to me are eating really low amounts of protein, really high amounts of fats, and their carbs are all bread, rice, and pasta. And our carbs are from vegetables. So you're learning glycemic indexes of food. You're learning how to create balance on a dinner plate. You're learning how to transfer those skills to breakfast and lunch. And you don't ever have to count points or carbs or macros or anything. You just learned balance. You learned what your body needs. And those are the things that I'm so passionate about teaching people, because the people back in 1910 and on all those other, old videos, the old saying, everything in moderation, well, that's gone. Like, people don't understand. It's overindulging so much today, sitting on the couch with a bag of whatever and overindulging. Not eating all day long and sitting down for one meal and overindulging. Your body's in starvation all day. You eat one meal. Now it has so much in it. It doesn't know what to do. It stores it using that 10,000-year-old caveman structure that we used to use. Doesn't know when you're going to feed it again. So it stores everything, holds on to it. So learning how to level out your blood sugar level so that you can regulate things. When your insulin pump's regulated, then your thyroid's regulated. Now your mood, your sleep, your energy, everything starts flowing into place, and you're off that blood sugar roller coaster ride, spiking and crashing. So it's interesting, but they didn't really have to.
We've actually had, I was going to tell you, I'm going to take it back to carnivore. I've actually done 2 shows with the person who's on carnivore. And actually, you met the engineer for our program here. Yeah. He's been doing carnivore for a couple of years. His health has improved. He's lost like 80 pounds. Yep. And he's disciplined in a way whereby it's worked for him. Right. And I hear the pros and the cons about it. I tried to do it. I'm not very disciplined about any of this. To be honest with you, I'm sitting here listening to the convictions coming across this here a program that I actually struggle with. But he's done the carnivore. So much of his body has improved. And that's right for him to discuss. One day we'll do a show, I suppose. But I also know other people who have done the carnivore. Their diabetes is gone. They're sleeping better. Their blood pressure's gone. They're eating good meat, not the stuff that's so, but of the carnivore people that I know that are consistently doing this, their health is improved.
Right. That's not the issue. The carnivores, super successful. Weight loss surgery, super successful. Jenny Craig, successful. Intermittent fasting, successful. You name it. Keto, successful. Is it successful 20 years down the road? Have they learned how to reincorporate all the other foods that they know eventually they'll be able to eat? So what I'm doing is I'm teaching people after the after. And when I'm doing a free health assessment with my potential clients, I always tell them, look, there's a ton of programs on the market right now that are successful in helping you shake a few pounds. I have had a lot of people in my life who've done intermittent fasting. It's known that intermittent fasting super screws up women's hormones in particular, but they lose the weight and then guess what? They put it back on. And how many people do you know in your life that have had weight loss surgery? They lost a bunch of weight by basically not eating, which is malnourished, which is also what's happening. These semaglutides are doing a great job shutting off the chatter in the brain with the cravings. They're doing a great job with that. But if they don't have any kind of lifestyle support, what happens when they come off the weight loss meds? Was it successful shaking off the pounds? Absolutely. Is carnivore successful? You're not eating the glycemic food. You're stabilizing your blood sugar with protein, which is what we teach also. Super successful. You're going to see a lot of really good things happen to your life. Does carnivore diet, and maybe it does, maybe I'm not educated in this. Do they teach you what to do to re-engage with other foods? And when you go to a birthday party 7 years down the road, or how to re-engage, how to create the after. And that's where I feel like this program is different. We're focused solely on the lifestyle after the weight loss. So I take my clients through fat burn transition, where we slowly come out of fat burn so it doesn't rubber band back on, right? And then we go into optimal health, and I can even take you into ultra health. But that, people say I was really successful with insert program, whatever it is. And they lost a lot of weight, but then they say, sadly, I put the weight back on. Well, then how is that successful? If you put the weight all back on, how is that successful? My husband successfully lost 30 pounds on HCG. He put it all back on when his uncle passed away. He did not know how to deal with that grief. He did not know how to process those emotions, and he ate his way through them. And that happens a lot, is you go through your first set of holidays, or you hit your first monkey wrench in life, like grief. And sadly, we quickly can put those pounds back on that we lost with something that doesn't help you with a lifestyle.
One of the things that I have trouble with is I love food.
Everybody does.
I just like to eat. I love to eat.
My husband's a foodie.
But as a result of what I'm doing now, I'm realizing where I'm undisciplined, and it's pretty big. So you're actually helping me as I look at all this stuff, because I'm 65 years old. I'm type 2, and you don't realize how fast you become 65 years old. When you're 30 years old, it's the last thing you're thinking about. Well, here I am now, and it's like, God, I was 30 years old 25 minutes ago.
Yes.
And now my body's letting me know that those 30 years in between, but I didn't really eat the right things and the nutrition and all these things. So I've got to get some help. I've got to figure out how to do all these things. In the meantime, having you on is encouraging to me. But let's talk about some of your success stories, some of your clients, some of the things that you have personally helped a person or people go through, so that you've been doing this for 6 years.
Yep.
So there's a reason you're still doing it. So what do you have to say about some of your clients?
Yeah, we're in sync. I was just thinking about that when you said type 2 diabetes. The program is designed for diabetics, but we all should be eating like diabetics. But just little old me, I've had hundreds of clients, but just little old me, I have personally helped several people reversed type 2 diabetes. And there's actually a couple in one of those slides, but people who want to get off blood pressure meds. There's another guy in our Ignite You group. Yep, there. So the guy and his wife, that is Don and Heather. I met Heather, I don't even know how many years ago, in a church group. He's down 105 pounds, reversed his type 2 diabetes. She's down 60 pounds. She had it first. She actually brought her doctor was shocked. They reduced her asthma medication, which was incredible. That was a first for me to have a client do that. But they have so much just zest for life. I don't know what the word, I mean, just a whole new love for life and activity. And losing that much weight together was even just their relationship, everything just blossoms. So he said to me just about a month ago, I still check in with him. He's in optimal health at this point. And he said, Becky, I don't know if I've ever really stopped to just say, thank you. I mean, he just about brought me to tears, but he said, thank you so much. You completely changed my life. And I didn't, he did the work, but I guided him hopefully into success, and that's my goal, is to add value to my client's journey and guide them to success, the best success possible. And they were both extremely successful. And the trip, or the other couple there, the ladies, that was actually mom and twin daughters, and the ripple effects in families, creating a healthy community around you. We become like the 5 people we hang out with the most. And so those ladies all support each other, and they're just doing phenomenal. So that is so fun when you can see the ripple effects in family. But yeah, a lot of clients getting off medications, metformin, blood pressure, cholesterol meds, I guess asthma medications, and none of this is promised. Results not typical, disclaimer. But the thing is it is possible. And I think a lot of times with traditional medicine, there you go, traditional medicine, a lot of people don't have hope for reversing. They just start taking medications, and one medication with side effects leads to another medication, and they think this is the only way there is. Ken there on the left, what an amazing transformation. Age does not matter. This whole slide is all about age doesn't matter. He has a whole new retirement level of activity he's doing, and I still check in with him. That was several years ago he lost that weight. He's doing amazing. And that healthy team there on the right, she's actually with a friend of mine. That's her niece in Hawaii, and she had an amazing transformation. And can you just see that expression on her face? It's the sweetest thing ever. And when we as parents can make changes in the house and lead by example for our teenagers, and by the way, these are all different programs. None of these people were all on the same program. They're all on different programs for whatever matches their need in their life. But just creating those, healthy tools for those people at any of those ages, so that they can really just live a different level of activity in their life. And find a new love for life and a new passion. And that teenager too, that's a level of confidence. That's a whole new way of approaching high school when you feel good like that. That's what's heartwarming.
Well, the other thing too is our society is so you said they normalize weight. I see these well, I don't want to be crude. I'm not trying to be crude. But when I see people showcasing like entertainers, they're obese, I mean morbidly obese, and the idea was to say we're fine. Well, actually, no, your body's in trouble.
Yeah,
And
what's
they
your
try
body
to make
saying?
it seem like it's okay to be 300 pounds or 350 pounds or even 400 pounds, celebrating the fact that you're a big person. And I'm sitting here going, their internal organs are being squished, their health is horrible. And I'm going, how can we make this normal when it's actually killing the body? And yet, this is our culture. There's so many dimensions to our culture now that are sick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That it's just really hard to pick your battles. And because Everything out there is telling you, here's a pill, you're going to lose
Yep.
weight. Take this injection, it's going to happen. Go to sleep, you're going to wake up another person. Everybody wants instant fix. It just doesn't work that way. Speak to that, will you?
Yeah, the instant fix. I know. It's funny. As I was an occupational therapist, I have clients come in so much pain, and I used to always say, "I know you want to be better yesterday." They were tired. They were tired of dealing with pain, and in many cases, I feel like my clients now come to me in that same sort of fashion. They're tired. They're tired of dealing with it. They're tired of feeling that way. And when the initial visit, they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so we all want to be better yesterday. That's my little saying that I tell people. But it took us a while to get there. So it's going to take us a while to reverse it. And that's okay if you're in it to win it for the long term. But I mean, losing 10 pounds a month for my ladies, and on average, I'm going to say 15 to 20 pounds a month for my guys. Because, by the way, the science behind that is women will get into fat burn and burn 500 calories a month. Guys get into fat burn and they burn 1,000 calories a month. So it's hey, they're cheaters, whatever. But it's science that guys will actually lose weight faster than women because they're burning more calories. That's just the way our bodies were designed. But, that's fast. That is fast. And what I found is my clients, like for me, I lost 15 pounds in 5 weeks, but my husband lost it a lot faster. He had more to lose. I have a client right now. He has a lot to lose. And he thought I wasn't going to believe him. And he lost 15 pounds in his first 4 days on program. He lost 18 pounds his first week. It is normal when your body is wanting to get that inflammation off, out, gone. And it feels good to get that off your body. And so people go, yeah, it was just water weight. I'm like, no, that's a big deal. That inflammation off your body is such a big deal. And what I really talk about is, what are you going to have a clean bill of health when you walk out of the doctor 20 years from now? That's where my focus is for my clients. Are you going to have a clean bill of health when you leave the doctor in 20 years? That's what we're striving for, is being able to get down on the floor and play with your grandkids and do all the activities. I live in, Washington, so everyone wants to do a Pacific Northwest hike. Those are, activities. I'm really finding out what's their desires. What are some activities that they don't do currently? What are some things that they'd like to do more of? And, it takes time to create those things. But it's not instant gratification. The food is really easy that we're using our nutrition program. It's grab and go. So it starts out really easy, and we slowly work you into more whole food options where it's not so overwhelming. I think because the way society is, that was the thing that Dr. A recognizes. We have to keep it simple. It has to be really, really simple. And so that's what the number one thing is that my clients say is, it's so simple.
That's good. Now, if let's say I was one of your clients, and just give me obviously it's going to be different for each person, but what's the first step, the second step, the third step? Let's just go down the line as to what you offer as a health coach.
I love it. I'm so glad you brought that up. I did send you a slide that talks about 4 components. It has a picture of me as the coach. So there's 4 components that we talk about as part of the program. And what I say and what I teach my clients is, yes, we have 9 different programs, and here's the 4 components. And when I talk to my clients, really the focus is these 4 components, because I know if they're going to actually take the time to use all 4 parts of the program, they will experience success. If they are going to use just the nutrition part of the program, it's just another diet. It's going to offer them short-term results. Are they going to lose weight? Heck yeah, they're going to lose it fast. But unfortunately, without plugging into the other 3 parts of the program, they're not receiving that after the after. And so unfortunately, they're 85% likely to put the weight back on. And that's the definition of a diet today, right? Is unfortunately lose the weight, put the weight back on, because they don't really know how to keep it off. They haven't learned. That's my focus. People come to me, they want to shake a few lbs. I always say, great, I want to teach you how to keep them off. So those 4 components with the health coach and then the education, I talked a little bit about that already. I talked a little bit about the community, because when you're creating a healthy community around you, you are receiving a lot of support. And I know that if people are creating that healthy community around them with healthy, supportive networks around them, they're going to, and there's my adorable family, they're going to absolutely succeed long term. So actually, that's funny. That picture on the left there, that's my husband and I in our hometown, Port Townsend. And then, yes, I have two now adult girls, Liz and Megan, 20 and 22. And my husband loves it. Everything he does right now, he just can't believe it. 100 pounds down, everything he does. He went from 285 to 172. He regularly weighs in at 175. He just can't believe it. Like snowboarding, 100 pounds down. Whoa, what a difference. What a difference. Totally different lifestyle. But yeah, using those four components was what my husband did to create that new healthy lifestyle. Is and it took time. It took him some time. And you said, I love food. We all do. He really loves food. I'm the type of person that I'm like, can I just eat it fast? Can you just like give it to me so I can eat it, get it in my body? I just need to eat right now. He wants to prepare everything. He wants to make it really, really yummy. And I'm like, oh, I don't even care. I just need to eat. But he really loves food. He loves cooking. And the best part is we eat really good. We ate really good then. We eat really good now. We just know how to create that balance. And that's the beautiful thing about this. And so he didn't know how to create that balance. And now that he's learned, he participated. He laughs. I always say, I don't know if you listen to the podcast. He says, what the heck? I listen to you every day at home when you're talking. I had the Becky podcast all the time. So he always learned. He always had me in his ear. But definitely did listen to the community calls that our program offers and all the education. It's super awesome. And then, participating in creating more healthy community around him. And yeah, it works when you use all four pieces to the program. So that's how I guide my clients to really experience the full success of the program.
So we had this ticker running across the bottom. I can't remember what it was. Carol's going to put it back up there. What is Linktree? And is this a way for people to contact you?
Yes, thank you. It's super easy. I don't technically have like a website for people to go and learn about program. And the reason why is because there are those 9 different programs. Actually, there's more than that now. And so the biggest thing to do, if somebody's really interested in, I offer a free health assessment. And so the biggest thing is just reach out and let's connect and do the free health assessment. Once we do the free health assessment, then we have an opportunity to figure out which of the 9 programs might be a good fit for you. And if you decide to move forward with the program, great. If not, it's okay. We're just giving you information. And so Linktree is just a quick and easy link that gives you all the ways to reach me. I'm not as good on Instagram, but I'm pretty active on Facebook. You can see any and all of my transformations on there. I share recipes. I share all kinds of things. So it's connecting with me on Facebook. You've got my phone number on the bottom there. It's got Linktree.
We'll read your phone number out loud because there's going to be an audio version of this and they're going to be able to see it. So
Okay.
Your phone number is 360-301-4161. And that's a direct line to you?
Yes, it is. And the best way is to actually send me even a text, because then we can schedule a time to go over that health assessment. And I can send you the JOT form, which is just a free health assessment to start with. And it helps us to streamline the call, because I want to have time to review it before I get on the phone to figure out which program I'm going to offer or suggest that might be a good fit for you. That's probably the best way. But yeah, Linktree has all the different, it has my YouTube channel, my Facebook, all my social media things. And that's, a great way to reach out. But the JOT form, it immediately emails me when people fill it out, and I can reach out to people that way. So
it's
yeah.
link, linktr.ee/Racine Health and Wellness. I'm going to say that one more time. Linktree is spelled linktr.ee/Racine, which is RACINE, Health and Wellness. Phone number being 360-301-4161. You prefer people to text you, which I think that's kind of cool. Because I get a lot of phone calls, and a lot of times I can't respond to a phone call. At least you
Hmm.
have a record of the text. And
Hmm.
then you operate. Do you operate all over the country? I mean, do you have clients all over the U.S. or how does that work with you?
Yep. Yep. I have people all over the country. We just want to make it convenient for people. I do weekly check-ins with my clients, so I generally am doing regular calls, but especially if it's someone I'm trying to get to know, I like to do a lot of this video calls because it allows the client to be, in their own comfortable home, but I love to put a face to a name. I also know 90% of our communication is our body language, and I want to really get to know people. I want to really build that level of trust and that relationship with my clients. And so that is definitely something I love to do is a video call, at least the first couple of times, getting to know each other. But yeah, we can connect anywhere all over the states. It's easy peasy.
Well, I'm gonna throw this question out because I have 4 kids. They're all adults. How do your kids respond to what you and your husband do, and particularly with the way their dad lost all this weight? I mean, what did they say about your health coaching?
They actually think it's amazing. I mean, it transformed our lives as a family because I mentioned briefly, and it always felt like a dirty little secret I never really wanted to talk about, but it is part of my story. You know, we actually were walking out of a bankruptcy in 2018 when I began this business. And so I was the no, no, no mom. And I turned into oh, okay, maybe, yeah, 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 mom. And so in that aspect, my business, they saw completely changed our lives. I was able to really do a 360 with our financial health, which was, again, results not typical. But it was super awesome. I was able to leave my occupational therapy career in 2020, come home and do this full time. Super, super.
During COVID?
I did. Yeah. I had a unique situation. I also fell snowboarding and broke my back. So we were all home anyway. What a time to break your back. But it was all very interesting 2020. I guess those are stories for another day and near of our hour. But it was an interesting time. But with this business, I was able to replace both my husband's and my income, and it has been extremely special. And so the kids didn't mind that one little bit. As far as the health part of it, I talked earlier about ripple effects. My children now, like, we would go out, run errands, and what's the typical thing? You out and you're longer than you want to be. Oh, let's just grab something to eat really quick. We don't do that anymore. Neither do my kids. We always walk out the door with something to drink and eat. Always. It's always taking a few minutes to prepare, have healthy snacks on hand, keeping, ourselves where because I used to blood sugar crash. It's not, my blood sugar levels were fine, but I felt so weak in the knees, so exhausted, so starving hungry. And I just didn't know I needed to eat more frequently throughout the day. And so, lots of little things that we changed in those fashions that they rippled out to the girls. And my younger daughter loves to cook. She is a absolute health nut. She cooked for us the other night. She put some chicken in and seasoned it up amazing. She made a cream mushroom sauce from scratch, and she took all the squash and laid it out in a circle, fanned it out in a pie dish, and seasoned it all up and with shallots and everything. And that was what we ate: chicken and vegetables, which I think a lot of kids her age would just have bread or pasta or rice. And so we've really transformed the way we cook and the way we eat. And, it's just a healthier way of living, and you feel good.
Okay, well, I think this has been a very informative podcast. You'll get the links for all of this, and you can do with it whatever you wish. It literally belongs to you. That's why I do the show. Folks, I do this program to bring to you the average person who is making a difference in the lives of people. That's what this is all about. If you want to be a guest on my show, just send me an email. The email is JS, as in Sam. My name is Jeff Scott, and my last name is Morton, like salt. So JS Morton at proton.com. And of course, Carol, my engineer, is putting all that information up on the screen. You're welcome to give me a call. I'd love to have you on the guest. I'm kind of booked out now for about several weeks, actually. But the reason I do this is to introduce you to people like Becky Racine, who was a health coach, transformed her life, her finances, and is looking forward to helping you do the same thing. Becky, we've got just about 5 minutes left in the broadcast. I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate all the information, all the slides that you supplied. And you got the last word, and you can say whatever you want to say to the people that might want to know you.
Well, I just want to thank.
It's up to you.
Yeah, I just want to thank you, Jeff. Your heart is all in this, and spreading the good word of health in any way. And that's what we need in today's world. Is we need more people to start talking up about different ways to approach health. That I talked in the beginning about the 3 things that a doctor might tell you if you feel unhealthy in your life, and it's not helpful. It's not going to give us the kind of health that we all really want to achieve. And so I fully appreciate the opportunity to come here today, and I hope that I've been able to give someone hope that maybe there is another way. Maybe there is something easier. Maybe there is something that can be a true lifestyle change outside of some of these short-term changes. And maybe you're one of those people that are even doing some of these short-term programs. Like I actually work with a lot of semaglutide patients right now, or clients, because they're recognizing they need to change some things after the meds. And so that's where I step in. And those are the great people that I want to work with. You want to come off meds, you want to achieve a healthy lifestyle. Those are the people that I'm working with. Those are the people that were changing lives and really making a difference and creating a ripple effect in their world. And it's all about lifestyle. So it's really, what do you want to create? And I can help you do that, hopefully.
Why don't you give the folks one more time your phone number, you've referred that they text you, and also the Linktree address.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's Linktree, linktr.ee/Racine Health and Wellness. That's actually my email too at Gmail. So it's Racine, RACINE. So Racine Health and Wellness. And my phone number is 360-301-4161. And if you text me, I'll send you over the jot form and we can get connected on the phone and go over your health concerns and anything you'd like to achieve and figure out if one of these programs might be a good fit for you. That's all it is just starting with a free health assessment, and we'll see what we can create together.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. Next week, we're going to have a pizza guy on the program. He's from Honduras. His name is Bernard. And he came here and did some amazing things. So I hope you look forward to, I hope you join us next week when we sit down and talk to Bernard. He's got a couple of pizza restaurants. He's got a couple of pizza restaurants that will maybe put a few pounds on you, but
not always. We eat pizza. Jeff,
it's
we
how
ate pizza
he
last
did
night.
it. That's good, because how he did it with no money, coming in from Honduras, he and his wife and daughter, is a fascinating story. So I hope you join us next week. Becky Racine, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you. We see each other on a weekly basis, guys. I met her at Ignite You. That's IgniteU365.com. It is a networking group that meets 3 times a week here in Tacoma. If you want to meet me or you want to meet Becky, just go ahead and click on the website, and we'll see you over there in Tacoma on 6th Avenue. We meet at the tower. I like to promote Ignite You for this reason. I'm meeting business owners and professionals and representatives that's kind of taking away the need to Google something, because most of the people that I'm meeting over there are the something I'm looking for. So Becky, thanks a lot for doing the show. And guys, let's talk about it anytime, 7 days a week. You can catch this podcast, and we go live on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble every Sunday at 3:00 p.m. Pacific time. On that note, folks, we are out. Out of here, and that's it. That's a wrap.